Nukes continue to just dominate the meta, and this banner is no exception. Nino and Ginnungagap are going to... You'll see. Let's get right into it. So, coming up we have... So this kind of dispels the idea that we're going to get attuned units in pairs. It also really hammers home the fact that we're going to have fewer and fewer units into the main pool. And those are interesting, and I'm curious what they end up doing about that. We've got Ginnungagap first, and... I'm not in love with the art, I'll be honest. It's very well done, like I get it. It's not my favorite though. Arcane Void, and wow. Okay, we have this new weapon here, and this thing, it's not my favorite dagger either. The unit I love, we'll get to why I love that in a second, but Arcane Void is for slower daggers, and what we're seeing here is Slang, Omni +5, a guaranteed follow-up, special acceleration, which is nice, and an Omni -X. X equals the highest penalty between target and allies within 2 spaces. So this is nice. This is good. For the most part, though, this is the basically looking at Arcane Devourer and how, or Arcane Lewin versus Arcane Shang. And Arcane Lewin was for speed units, and the meta is so built on speed that anything that accentuates that is a great thing. Slower units have a lot of things against them, and so it's harder to use this. I think this is still going to be a good dagger, and I'll go over some uses and builds at the end of the video. We'll talk about that. It's neat, but wait. We have Lethality, and Lethality, as you know, is probably the best special in the game. It is, as far as combat goes, it is excellent. Fire Flood Boost, which I really do like. This grants HP +5, and if your HP is over 50%, you get attack res +7. And also, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, you get Guard. Fantastic. Ruler of Nihility. At start of turn, inflicts attack defense -7, Discord, and status preventing counterattacks on nearest foes within 5 spaces of unit and foes within 2 spaces of those foes through their next action. So it's flash, but you don't have to do anything. You just have to exist, and a unit has to be within 5 spaces. This is targeting Farsave armors in a big way. Like, you thought they were back with the ruse skill, and this unit is saying, just kidding. And is further hammering it home with Fatal Smoke 4. Foe cannot recover HP during or after combat. Neutralizes foe's special. If foe would reduce unit's HP to 0, unit survives with 1 HP effects during combat. Wow. Okay. And this is specifically for Fallen Maria. That's neutralizes foes non-special. Yeah. This is Fallen Maria, Legendary Seliph, Brave Seliph, all of those units. It's not actually neutralizing Miracle, which is crazy. And then after combat, inflicts deep wounds and a penalty that neutralizes non-special. If foe would reduce unit's HP to 0, unit survives with 1 HP. So yeah, deep wounds is basically just this effect, and then it passes it on. I mean, so this is really good. It is interesting that they're going after 1 unit specifically, and that 1 unit was a big way of keeping a lot of our Omni tanks and our Far Saviors in the game longer. So yeah, do I think this is going to have a big effect on the meta? No, because I don't think a lot of people are going to have this. But you are going to run into it, and it is going to be frustrating. So just keep that in mind. Let's move on and look at the rest of this banner, though, because we've got a lot of talk about rankings and all of that other great stuff. Yeah. Lethality coming in hot here. Yeah. All right, here we have the 2 new heroes. Just 2 of them. Because that's the world we live in now. All right, Escort of Foray. This is Isadora. Lance Cav, which is tough. And The role this unit plays, you've got Guarding Lance, which has Slaying. If a rally or movement assist skill is used by unit or target's unit, grants attack speed defense +6, bonus doubler, and foe penalty doubler to unit and target ally, or unit and targeting ally for 1 turn. If unit initiates combat orders within 2 spaces of an ally, grants Omni +5 to unit, neutralizes effects that guarantee foes follow-up attacks, and so then no follow-up. And then damage reduction from foe's first attack equals 40%. This is all good. The problem is, of course, it uses up an action, and that's big in either Aether Raids where you want to use this unit, or in other words, in more of a player phase scenario, the actions are very, very important. And then obviously in Summoner Duels, that means a lot as well. I don't love it. It's really creative, and I hats off to that, but I'm not a huge fan. That is a lot of good things, but we've seen these supportive Cavs that have trouble really fitting into the meta because as a melee Cav, it's just tough. You have to be absolutely bonkers like Legendary Ellawood. You got attack speed clash 4, great. Attack defense snag 4, particularly if she's speedy, which it looks like she's going to be. I would have liked a speed component in there, but I really love the snag skills. I think they're fantastic. The debuffs and the sabotage are great. I mean, what else do you say? And then we scroll down a bit. Oh no, we don't scroll for this one. We're fine. That's all this unit has. And melee Cavs have a hard time fitting in right now. They just have a lot of competition. This one is interesting, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with this unit. So this is Harken, and we've got a dual phase Brave weapon, which is kind of fantastic. We've got him quadding right there. So accelerate special triggers. We've got Slaying. We've got dual phase Brave. We've got Omni +5 to unit. And then we've got 40% damage reduction off first attack, and we've got a special acceleration component there. And then for each foe within 4 spaces of a unit can move to any of the nearest spaces adjacent to that foe. This is, especially in a Brave unit, is very interesting, and on the right team can be powerful. We've seen this with Hell. Hell uses this, and it can be absolutely devastating, but you have to have a special team, and there are going to be people who use this unit and absolutely love him. It is a small niche of people that are really going to be able to do that. Most people are going to have a hard time using this unit properly. So we have battling going on and all of that great stuff. Then we have our Attuned hero with Nino, and I'm excited about this. I love Nino, and the fact that she's taking on Jafar's outfit here is kind of fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. So green, she's got 3 spaces there, and we had stats. Where'd they go? 64 attack, speed of 53. That's very high. That's very good. Defense 26, res 33, which is just enough to do what she wants to do because she has a whole lot of damage reduction. We'll go over that in a second. So this unit is kind of the best of both worlds with ranged Cav and infantry because she gets all of the infantry inheritance, but she has the threat range of a Cav. Fantastic, right? So Gondol. So we've got Slaying, of course. At start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack speed +6 to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. So that's visible. If unit initiates combat or foe's range equals 2, grants Omni +5, that's in combat, grants bonus to unit's attack equals X, and speed defense res equals 50% of X. And X is the thing where you compare the highest bonus. You take the highest of that individual stat, and that's, of course, the full thing goes to attack, and half of that goes to speed defense res. So you can think of this as attack +6 and speed defense res +3. So you're getting a total attack +11 and speed defense res +8. That's on average. Most people can manage to get +6 to all stats. It's not all the time, but you guys get what's going on here. So, then we've got damage reduction from foe's first attack by 30%, which is fantastic. We've seen how powerful that is with nukes and how that is such a big part of the meta right now. We don't really have piercing from tanks, and that is a big thing. Until we do, these units are just going to run over folks, and this unit is no exception here. We're now getting damage reduction stacking, which is nuts. Flash Sparrow, we've already seen this. It's very good, especially on this unit. Speed Defense Tempo 4. So this unit is going to be able to very easily proc lethality. We've already talked about that here as one of the better specials that you can get. And then we scroll, Speed Defense Tempo 4 being the next version, and to be honest, the better version of the tempo. Attack res is good on specific units, but a lot more units can use the speed defense version of that. We've got Fanged Ties. At start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants extra movement and Canto 1 to unit for 1 turn, which is fantastic. Also grants the following effect to unit based on the value of unit's special cooldown. So what this is if you're at max cooldown, you get 2 cooldown off of that, and if you are at +1 of that, you get 1 cooldown. Again, very easy to proc lethality, which is key because that is so big for what daggers like to do. This unit is going to be a lot of fun in that realm. Fleeting Echo, we have our next Attuned skill, and I think this one is a little more valuable, not a lot though. It's still in that range, and it's kind of, I don't know that we want to see them go just crazy with these things, but if unit initiates combat, grants speed +2 to unit and reduces damage from foe's first attack by 30% during combat. We've talked about how valuable damage reduction is on nukes, and I mean, here's another way to get it. This is going to be particularly good on speedy units. Just remember that you can't use this in conjunction with a preference skill. You can still use it with a preference weapon, but not a skill. So that is something to keep in mind there. And we'll go ahead and watch the wonders of this attack here, as she just obliterates this unit. It's kind of hard to evaluate these units on that kind of thing, but you know. All right, so the one other thing that I want to point out, we go through all of the story chapter, and then they flash up that we've got a new 4-star unit, and there's been a lot of talk in the Discord, a lot of other places, Reddit, as to how they are going to get people summoning on new banners again, new heroes. Because the seasonals are very popular right now because we have so many of the real favorite units have been used already. We have a lot of alts of them as well, but I mean, if you get to see them in a different outfit or something like that, it's a lot of fun. This is a way that they're going to be. So they've got Attuned and Rearmed and Ascended and all of that great stuff. God only knows that they'll come up with another one soon enough, and it'll be nuts. And I don't even know what we'll do with that. But 2 of these units aren't going into the main pool. So the way they've added in an extra unit into the 3- and 4-star pool here is they have added him directly in, and they've added him into colorless, which is the worst color to summon on, and just got even worse. If you are trying to merge a colorless unit right now, I'm sorry. Like, this is terrible. So, I mean, Will's probably, for Will fans out there, I don't want to, like, this is good for you. But as for the summoning pool in general, I have no idea why they're doing this. We'll go over that in just a second. In fact, we can just go over there right now. Like, this is the unit I wanted to look at just real quickly. Let's move over into the stats. Looking at this, and you guys have seen this. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is something more for you to like sit down with. You don't really have to sit here with me and go over it. But just take a glance and look at how much. Okay, so green, Nino. If you're +10ing Nino, this is 50% alt, average, 1,400 orbs to +10 that unit. Ginnungagap, 1,800. What in the world? I mean, what do you do with that? That is nutty. That is an insane amount. That is more than a month's worth of income. A month's worth of income is 300 orbs. So that is an extra month and a half that you have to save in order to plus 10 a colorless unit versus a green unit. And I don't even know what to do with that. That's nuts. So yeah, going for green is very nice, and you're probably going to have a good day unless your name's Oblivion and you're going after Heather. Oh, and I mean, that just goes to show you sometimes stuff like that happens. Let's go over the tier list though. So, melee nukes, and I think that's where this unit belongs. I think because of the way they've got this unit with Brash Assault and Brash Assault being enemy phase, I think that's really, or player phase, that's really where they want this unit. I've done some rearranging here and I need to do some cleanup because we've had, like originally I had Alencia and Anna lower, and we're finding out that they're kind of amazing. Selef obviously is dropping down, and I think Harkin is right there in that tier 2. And I'll have this a little more hammered out next time. Melee units are very hard to evaluate because they don't have as many use cases as some of the other units. But still, as a melee frontliner, I think he can do some interesting things. You'd have to switch out his B skill, but I think he's merely tier 2 for the melee nukes. Let's move on here. Next we have Isadora, and I feel about her the same way that I feel about Noah. Noah had some really interesting things you could do with him, but he's not just setting the meta on fire. And I mean, keep in mind, I have him down here with, and Lind, I have her ahead of Lind, but really it's like, it depends on what you need that day. There are times when Lind is incredible, and there are times when Duo Dogger still is incredible. But like, you're not using her every day. But yeah, I mean, that's the way things are going, and you guys know how this is. There is an interesting thing here. You notice I have dropped Katria, and I've got her below Hinoka, but that's all I'm dropping her. Like, I don't think she just comes crashing down yet. Be on the lookout. If we see more ruse skills, I think that is a possibility. Let's move on to fodder factories. And I thought that I was going to be able to keep this chart for a bit with everybody here, and it's very obvious that I'm going to have to change this to have the representative tier list instead, because this is going to get way too crowded very, very quickly. So, and remember how we weighted this. This has to do with how good they are in combat, what they come with, and also how influential they are as a unit. I think Nino is, as a fodder factory, is the next thing along the same lines of the other folks down there with the infantry, the infantry guys. Like, she can pass on a ton of good skills. I think her echo skill is really good. I think it's excellent, but I mean, what does Ginnungagap get? I mean, it was lethality, it was Fatal Smoke 4, which I think is really good, and you've got Fire Flood boost, and I mean, you've got Fatal Smoke 3 in the codes, so you could inherit her entire kit in one go around, which is really nice, whereas Nino just doesn't come with as many things to inherit. Flash Sparrow, which you can do. I'm not as big of a fan as Flash Sparrow because Pledge came along and kind of nerfed it. Flash Sparrow itself, I think, is okay. Speed Defense Tempo is very good. And then, of course, you've got Fang Ties, which you can't get in Fleeting Echo. So I like what Ginnungagap gives you better. I think the supportive aspect of Ginnungagap is very good, along with her also being a good nuke. Keep in mind, these are initial takes, and I just have this feeling that Nino is going to climb the ranks as soon as we start seeing what she can do. So just keep that in mind. I've got her here. There's a very good chance that she climbs the fodder factory tier list here. But just to show you that I think I think Ginnungagap is a better fodder factory. I think Nino is a better nuke. This is important. I think you get the extra range, so you can use this unit in a Catria ball, in a Cav line, even in a Flyer ball line. It's not too hard. There are a lot of ways that you can use this unit well, and I like that. I like her as a nuke better than Ginnungagap. I like this unit a whole lot. I think she's at the very tip top of tier 1. If we're looking at Shamir versus Ginnungagap, I kind of have them very close, and they support your team in different ways, and so that's very powerful. I am giving Ginnungagap the benefit of the doubt, and I think that's going to be the way this comes out, is her ahead of Shamir, but just keep on the lookout for that. I'm a fan of both of these units. I don't know that I have the orbs to get them both because we have a ton of stuff coming up, and I'll be looking at that. I'll probably do a live summons sometime this weekend because I think that'd be fun, and I've got the time. So let's talk about builds, and I've got 3 different types of builds I want to look at here. And the thing that is interesting is this whole the penalty bonus that you get, where essentially however many penalties you can stack up, that's how much you're debuffing the enemy. And we've seen how powerful this can be. So keep that in mind, that is something that can kind of be sneaky good. I think the first thing you can run this on is like Patty and go full speed ahead, and because of the special acceleration you're getting, you can get off lethalities fairly easily. You can hit really hard. Speed defense tempo is the one you want. I've got attack res tempo in there because that's what was there at the time, but speed defense tempo would be fantastic on her, and you can kind of see how this would go. Like, second hit, you're going to get lethality. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, not for the enemy, but for you. The other one is the Flyer Soth, and this is just kind of a different kind of... Flyers have kind of a different feel to them, especially with Desperation. So the unit is coming in, hitting twice. On the second hit, you get lethality, and life is fun. The thing you want to look at, and is interesting, is if you start looking at this from an armor standpoint. And we've talked about this already, but one of the big things that is stopping tanks in general from being world beaters is the damage piercing. And so we're starting to see armors with Special Spiral 4. So you're taking Kagero here and you're putting the Arcane Void, you're putting Armored Flow, so you're going to be able to proc Armored Flow very easily, that doesn't affect your damage reduction, keep in mind, but that does affect how much damage output you're getting. So you're going to be able to get that Special Spiral off and pierce the enemy, and life is good, right? So the enemy hits in once, and then you proc Armored Flow. So this is an interesting build. It is unfortunate that Kagero herself is green. That's a bad color right now. You'd rather her be blue. But keep in mind stuff like this. If you're looking for ideas, I think this is a really interesting type of build for you to be running. If you want to build an enemy phase dagger, it is possible right now with something like Special Spiral 4, and then you outsource your damage reduction with Rock Slide Dance, or there are a couple other ways, but yeah. So, summoners, let me know in the comments, are you summoning on Nino, or do you want Ginnungagap? Which one are you after? Let me know if you're summoning at all or if you're saving. Thank you so much to members. You guys are absolutely amazing. If you're looking for more information on the meta, I just put out a meta report. Go give that a watch. Those are always a lot of fun for me. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHology real soon.